Hello and welcome back to the September 2017 New York State Notary Public Association Refresher Training Newsletter. This month's topic will be Notary Public Fees Allowed and Prohibited. So there's some things that you might not have been aware that you're not allowed to charge the normal fee for. So we hope you had a nice summer. The kids are back to school and let's get into it. First, we're going to cover real quickly the schedule of fees that most of you should be very well aware of. This is just the basic groundwork. There's documents or instruments that people can bring to you to notarize called a protest of note or a protest of non-payment, and that's commercial papers, and I like to think of that as collections. Now when they bring you these, they're only allowed to bring you a limit of 5 of these at a time, probably so you don't get killed with 100 documents to notarize. Your boss might not like that when you have a deadline. You're allowed to only charge 75 cents if they bring you one, and anything after the first one, you can charge 10 cents for each additional one. Now, you're all familiar with affidavits. That's where you administer the oath or the affirmation form of an oath for people who have a conscientious objection to the form of the oath. It's just notarizing an affidavit. You can charge $2. They can bring you an acknowledgement where there's no swearing, and you can be charging them $2. Of course, it's not mandatory to charge a fee ever. And then there's a proof of execution, and that's $2, and that's used in real estate conveyancing for witnesses' signatures. Okay, so that being said, traveling notary service fees are not currently regulated, and it's a free market conditions that regulate what people will pay. So it's a fair market that the market will bear. But that's not really why we're doing this video. So here's the information you might not be aware of. Fees of public officers. Each public officer upon whom a duty is expressly imposed by law must execute the same without fee or reward, except where a fee or other compensation therefore is expressly allowed by law. An officer or other person to whom a fee or other compensation is allowed by law for any service should not charge or receive a greater fee or reward for that service than is so allowed. So far, the law is just stating the obvious. The law has to state the obvious to be a law. Let's read on. An officer or other person shall not demand or receive any fee or compensation allowed to him by law for any service unless the service was actually rendered by him, except that an officer may demand in advance his fee where he is by law expressly directed or permitted to require payment thereof before rendering the service. An officer or other person who violates either of these provisions contained in this section is liable, in addition to the punishment prescribed by law for the criminal offense, to an action on behalf of the person aggrieved, in which the plaintiff is entitled to treble damages, which means 3 times. A notary public subjects himself to criminal prosecution, civil suit, and possible removal by asking or receiving more than the statutory allowance for administering the ordinary oath in connection with the affidavit. Okay, so fees for administering certain official oaths are prohibited. An officer is not entitled to a fee for administering the oath of office to a member of the legislature, to any military officer, to an inspector of election, clerk of the poll, or to any other public officer or public employee. Okay, so what is it that you can't charge public employees? Fees for administering certain official oaths are prohibited. So what are official oaths? An officer is not entitled to a fee for administering the oath of office to a member of the legislature, to any military officer, to an inspector of election, clerk of the poll, or any other public officer or public employee. Now, does this say you cannot charge public officers and employees when they ask you to notarize? No, it only applies to official oaths. So, what are official oaths? Well, primarily, but not limited to, oaths of office. For example, when you had your first license affidavit notarized, or the last time you had your renewal notarized, that is your official oath. When public officers need other affidavits notarized requiring them to swear or sign an affidavit, on paperwork that is required while performing their official duties, your $2 fee is waived. But any other paperwork they want notarized, you're entitled to the $2 fee. So it's only things that are being notarized and requiring an oath in their capacity of their public officer job and duties. Notary fees. A notary public shall not be entitled to the following fees: for administering an oath or affirmation and certifying the same when required, except where another fee is specifically prescribed by statute. So you can get $2 for administering an oath or affirmation, which we covered, and for taking and certifying the acknowledgement or proof of execution of a written instrument by one person, and then $2 by each additional person. So $2 for swearing such witness thereto. It's $2 per person is what we're saying here. So here's a trick question, a quiz. So if you were filling out one affidavit certificate that was below the signatures of Ricardo Metallica and Carmen Metallica, probably a husband and wife, how much are you allowed to charge after administering the verbal oath to each? Now you're only filling out one affidavit certificate. Can you A, get $2, B, $4, C, $3, or D, $5? The answer is $4. So this is me using a calculator during exams. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Just making sure nobody changed anything on me, just in case. Just kidding around. We need a little smile on our face. Okay, now guess how many jelly beans are in this jar? Just kidding. We don't really care. All right, so to subscribe to this monthly video newsletter or to become a notary, go to notarypublicnewyork.com. It's free to subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. Join us on Facebook at facebook.com/NYS Notary Association, and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/NYS Notary Association. Okay, so that's it for this month. We'll see you next month.